Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, and welcome to the Wrestling Experience. Probably presents the Wrestling Chronicles. The Wrestling Chronicles is back, and yes, we are back with volume number three. Today, we have some juicy wrestling hot topics to talk about. We're going to talk about that. We got a breaking news story that just broke last night. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mr. McMahon. We're going to talk about Riddle. We're going to talk about everything that you want to know behind the scenes at wrestling. And it's going to happen here today on the Wrestling Chronicles, which is presented by, and it's always powered by, our good friends at the Hardcore Sports.
You've landed on the Logron ship. Welcome to Planet Experience. Welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
All right. Welcome back to the Wrestling Chronicles, volume number three. All right, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this breaking news. Several sources confirmed to the PW Insider that the WWE has signed the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, according to this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. The team is expected to start immediately in NXT. So it looks like the Motor City Machine Guns are coming to NXT. This is great. This is great. This is some great news for all of you who are fans of these guys. I think this is great. I don't have a problem with this whatsoever. They're going to start, I believe, on October the 1st. They're going to bring them in on October the 1st when NXT moves over to the CW network. And again, like I said before, I'll say it again, I have no issues with this whatsoever. I think this is fantastic. So this news broke overnight that the WWE signed the Motor City Machine Gun tag team. And again, these guys are good. I haven't seen them in matches. I haven't followed them that much, but this is really good for NXT. Sarah, how are you, Sarah, today? How are you doing? Daniel Meredith Sports, how are you doing? So they will build up the tag team division in NXT. So that's great. Yeah, I agree with that, Sarah. I agree with your assessment. Yeah, I like this signing. I really like this signing, and this is going to be great. This, as Sarah said, this is going to build up the tag team. This is going to be everything. It's just going to be really good shot in the arm for the NXT tag team division. And I think that this is going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. I'm looking forward to see who they're going to feud with. And I want to find out if they're going to become a baby face or a heel or what kind of tag team are they going to be. But they're coming into NXT. And I believe that October the 1st on a Tuesday will they will make that debut and they will be there. So thank you very much. Um, Everyone in the chat, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, don't forget to follow the Hardcore Sports. I'll give you that in a minute. So all right, so that will take care of that breaking news. Yeah, like I said before, I'll say it again. This is a great tag team. Like I said, I haven't followed them as much, but now that they're going to be in NXT, I'm going to be curious to see exactly where this tag team goes. And like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on that. Going to keep an eye on that. All right. So let's just talk about this for a second. All right. Vince McMahon. Let's talk about this for a second. Vince McMahon. I know Sarah's probably watching this. She's like, oh boy. Yeah, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has been in the news all over the place. All over the place. All right. Um, I have covered Vince McMahon's trial ever since he got indicted here at the Wrestling Chronicles. Here we go again. Yes, sir. Here we go again. Here we go again. All right. I have covered Vince McMahon for a very long time, as everyone knows, on the wrestling experience. Now, when Sarah and I got together for the wrestling experience, we had a lengthy conversation about his trial. And the thing is that I've read text messages, I have read other things that brought out the indictment and everything else, and I brought it to the forefront. I even read you the transcripts of the text messages that the alleged person did to Mr. McMahon, and then Ashley Rosario and all of that. So all of that was read. All of that was read. Now, here comes some icing on the cake. All right. Vince McMahon's attorney issued a statement addressing his health rumors. Now, Linda McMahon, Linda McMahon, Vince's wife, says, and I quote, that her husband's health is declining. And she said, and she said, and she said that she wasn't aware of his indiscretions when he used to throw those parties in the backyard. Now, wait a second here. Wait a second. Wait a second. Hey, I'm at a loss here. You need to tell me you live with your husband. You need to tell me you live with your husband and you don't know what's going on in the house and you live there? Am I missing something here? Am I missing something here? And am I hearing that right? You don't know what was. Hmm. I don't know if I believe that. I don't believe. I don't. I don't think I believe that. You can't tell me. Um. That sounds fishy to me. Yeah. Yeah. It does, Sarah. Hmm. She says that she wasn't aware. So then. Hmm. I'm gonna have to give a side eye to that one. All right. In response to the report that suggests that Mr. McMahon's health was declining, Rosenberg stated to John Polak's post of wrestling. That's where I got this from. Post John Polak's post of wrestling. Vince's health is fine. Okay, we have no idea where the rumor that he had failing health issues, but it's not true. So, Miss McMahon's attorney He's saying that Mr. McMahon is healthy. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. All right. But according to what Linda said, because Linda spoke to this person named Lee Cole, who claims that Linda informed the people and him that her husband's health was deteriorating. And who's the brother? Okay, so this guy Lee Cole, who is the brother of the late Tom Cole, who is a former WWE ring boy, who had alleged, listen to this, who had alleged that Mr. McMahon did sexual misconducts with the company and attributes the information to the person who worked for Mr. McMahon for several years but did not disclose their identity. So this guy Lee Cole, whose brother is the late Tom Cole, who was a former WWE ring boy who made the allegations of sexual misconduct within the company, contribute. Yeah, he contributed to the information to the person who worked for Mr. McMahon for several years, but did not disclose their identity. So, um, Linda McMahon had a conversation with Lean Cole, and she says that her husband's health. She was on his podcast, and then she says that she wasn't aware of what was going on, and she says that her husband's health was declining. All of that is not true. What is Sarah said? I mean, unless she lives somewhere else and is never in the house, there's no way she wouldn't know. In my opinion, yeah, I agree with that, sir. I agree. I agree with that assessment because there's no way you could sit here and tell me that you did not know what was going on. Come on, you can't be that. You can't be that blind. You can't be that blind. Come on. Come on. Are you serious? Anyway, that was the story of Mr. McMahon. I don't Wesley, how you doing? Wesley, how's it going? And Walter, how you doing? Hey Walter, how's it going? Everyone, please hit that like button. Thank you. And subscribe and share. Thank you. Um Ay, ay, ay. I mean, because she she says that okay, the husband's health is declined. Okay, and then she said she's not. She wasn't. I mean, come on now. I can't buy none of this. I can't buy none of this. Now we all know Mr. McMahon had back surgery last year. I believe it was last year. He had the back surgery. He was in Saudi Arabia. He was walking around with a cane. Well, Vince will get a divorce. Vince will get divorced to Linda. Well, we'll have to see about that, Walter. We're gonna have to see about that, Walter. We're gonna see about that. We're gonna see about that. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see because you can't tell me you're gonna be married to somebody and they're doing all these nefarious things in the house and at work and you not aware of what's going on. Come on. Come on. No, 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 no. I'm not. I can't buy that. I can't buy that. um Mr. McMahon at this point Mr. McMahon at this point has a lot of stuff on his plate. A lot. And this indictment, and all of this legal stuff going on it's not going away. It's not going away. And that is why they pushed him out of the company, and that is why he had to resign, and that is why he just can't seem to get out of his own way and stumble over his 2 feet. So we're going to keep monitoring this Mr. McMahon situation. Trust and believe me. And if anything comes out, if any more stuff comes out, I am going to bring it to you because I have covered this story ever since the wrestling experience. Yeah, I agree, Earl. Yeah, Walter. Yeah, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to keep atop of this story, and I'm going to keep bringing out the story because this has to be one of the most worst things I've ever seen about Vince McMahon. I mean, first he's accused of doing these things to women, then he's accused of sleeping with men, and everything else. It's just from soup to nuts. This man has been doing these things behind the scenes that nobody knows. Nobody knows what is going on, but I will bring it out to the light. What's in the fog will come out in the light, and I'm going to bring it all out because I have covered this story. Um, Sarah's my witness. She knows that me and her we were in the trenches together with the Mr. McMahon story in the wrestling experience, and I'm going to bring it out more. I'm gonna bring it out more. And trust and believe me, I'm gonna bring it out. As soon as something breaks or something, I will come on the air and I'll break it to you. I'll give it to you. All right. All right. All right. Um, Let me see what Sarah says. Um, I honestly wonder how they're going to frame the Vince McMahon documentary coming to on Netflix in a few weeks, and if they're going to mention the lawsuit. Well, that's a good question, Sarah. That's a great question. That inquiring minds want to know about that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah, because he's supposed to have a Netflix series. He's supposed to be doing this documentary on Vince McMahon. And how's this gonna all gonna come out? How is this gonna shape up? Are they gonna mention the laws? Like Sarah said, are they gonna mention it? Or is it gonna get cut out? Or is it gonna be left on the cutting room floor? That's a great question because you really can't sugarcoat this at all. And you certainly can't overglass it. That's something you can't do. You can't portray Mr. McMahon on Netflix as this goody two shoes wrestling owner when he wasn't that at all. So you can't be phony about it. If the person is not clean, if they're not Mr. Clean, then obviously, obviously, he can't be. You can't do that on camera, on film. So I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how this is going to work. Um, I would think if you would do this documentary, then what you would do and what you can do and what you ought to do, excuse me, is to mention it because he went from the highest highs to the lowest of lows. And that's the truth. That's the truth. When he was running WWE, he ran WWE to the ground. The storylines didn't make sense. The TV ratings were going in the toilet. Um, the attendance was going down. So these are things that you have to bring out: the good, the bad, the ugly of Vince McMahon, and you can't sugarcoat it. So you got to be real. You got to keep it real. I grew up on Vince McMahon, and I've seen his ups and downs. He's had good triumph moments, and then there are moments where you just sat there and you looked at what he produced, and um, business wise, Vince is a genius. But no, let's see what he says. So Sarah says, business wise, Vince is a genius. Vince McMahon is a genius, but he's gotten older. Personally and ethically, he is a slime ball. Yeah, well, yes, yes, yes. Agree, agree. And he's creepy. Don't forget that, Sarah. He's creepy. Don't forget that. He's very creepy. The way he used to treat women back in the days. Like I said, we're going to follow this story and we're going to bring it on to you. All right. We got more stories for you. We got more stories for you. The Bloodline ruined the finish of the NXT tag team match because they didn't want the Street Profits losing, but also didn't want to book a title change. Okay, so that's why that happened in the NXT. Super creepy barf. That's right. That's right, sir. Barf. So the bloodline, they ruined the finish of the NXT tag team match last week because they didn't want the Street Profits losing, but they also didn't want to book a title change. So that's what they did in the finish at the NXT tag team match. That's why the bloodline interfered. All right, now, I guess they didn't want the Street Profits to become tag team champions again. PW Nexus heard rumblings that the Death Rebels contract will not be renewed by the WWE when it ends, and it is expected that the WWE will use more mainstream artists going forward. Well, that was evidence last night at SmackDown. I don't know if you all saw SmackDown last night, but they have a new logo and they got a new song, and it was produced by Megan T. Stallion. So thank you, thank the Lord above. Woohoo! Yeah. All right, Sarah. Um, so yeah, the WWE's Death Rebel contract will not be renewed, and of course, like I said, they used Megan T. Stallion last night for the new SmackDown theme song. So that's going forward. All right. Dave Meltzer mentioned that Adam Cole was backstage at All Out and was said to be walking around just fine. However, there's no timetable for Adam's return. So Adam Cole, Adam Cole was backstage at All Out, and he was walking around fine backstage, but they don't have anything creatively for him at this time. So that means that they're going to keep him off of AEW TV for a while until they find something creative for him to do. Um, I don't know if that's a good idea by AEW to do that. I would find him something. I would book him in some kind of thing uh, to do with AEW. I would find him something creatively in a heartbeat. Um, and that's just my opinion. All right. Fightful Select. Fightful Select says that many people in AEW were very happy with the crowd reaction for the Outrunners this week in Kentucky. So the Outrunners came out in the gauntlet match If you all didn't see the AEW Dynamite, they came out in the gauntlet match. They came out to a huge ovation. They came out to a huge pop. Oh, I thought that was okay. And the PW Insider says that Armando Estrada has signed a Legends contract with the WWE. So if you don't know who Armando Estrada is, he used to be the former manager of Umaga. You remember Umaga used to come out and he used to come out with Estrada. And yeah, so that's who that is. That is that is, and he signed the Legends deal with the WWE. All right. Okay. So let me just get my stories here. All right. Talked about the. All right. Here's another thing. Per TMZ, per TMZ, Nikki Bella has filed for divorce papers in court. The filings come after Autumn was arrested for domestic violence. If you all didn't hear the story about Nikki Bella called the police on Autumn for domestic violence after he threw a shoe at her. He threw a shoe at her, and they had this heated argument in the house with the kids present. So she then decided to file for divorce, and she's going to divorce Autumn, and she's going to leave him. Um, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not an expert at relationships or anything, but here's the thing. When you are angry with somebody, I don't care whether you are with a man or the man is doing it or the woman is doing it to the man. Doesn't matter. Um, when you are angry and when you are upset with one another, you need a cooling off period. You need a cooling off period, and you need to just decompress. And that's something a lot of people don't do. When you are angry and you are so angry and you're so blind with rage, um, you don't think. You can't think. You really don't. It messes up your thought process. So my whole thing is that if you are angry at somebody and you are married to them or that's your girlfriend or what, take some time off, take some cooling period off. You walk out of the house. You walk out of the house. You leave. You get out. You don't go there and you put your hands on somebody or what. And I'm going to give you another example here. Tarek El Musa. I don't know if you all know Flip or Flop, the TV show Flip or Flop with Tarek El Musa and his ex-wife Christina. They had some domestic violence going on there as well. He walks in the house, and they were arguing, and they were going back and forth, and he had guns in the house with the children in there and everything. So it, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because you are public figures, and once you are a public figure, your whole life is being displayed in news media, internet, television, and everything else. Um, yeah, so you need a cooling off period. And she was afraid, Christina, she was afraid for her because, I mean, he had guns in the house and he went up to the hills and he ran out and everything. So, like I said, if you have a domestic problem, if you are fighting with your spouse, Take some time to cool off. But for heaven's sakes, please don't put your hands on somebody. It's not worth it. It really is not worth it. Your life will be turned upside down for the rest of your life once you are a public figure and you put your hands on somebody. I don't believe in hitting anyone. I don't believe in that. If I'm angry at somebody and I'm like really wound up to the point where I'm gonna if I feel, now listen to me carefully, if I feel that I'm gonna do something I think I'm gonna regret, I take a time and cool off. I take some time and cool off. And I back away from the situation because it doesn't make any sense for me to go back and forth with the person. You're a D, you're a C, you're an E, you're an A. It doesn't, where does that lead us? Where is that going? Where's that going? I'm cursing at you, I'm cussing at you, and you're cussing at me, and we're going back and it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of energy. It doesn't make any sense. You know you're going to come up to the forefront and you know something terrible is going to happen if the two of you are still in the room together. So take some time off. Don't talk to the person anymore. Just walk out the door. Just walk out the door. That's all you got to do. You got two legs. You got two arms, thank God. Walk out the door. Walk out the door, open it, go outside, get some air, do whatever you got to do. And if you drive, go into your car or what? Just make sure you don't drink and drive, though. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um, but take a walk, take a drive, whatever you got to do, whatever you got to do to de- decompress, whatever you got to do, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Because if you are in the same room with a person that you despise, and I'm telling you, it's not gonna be a fun ride. It's not gonna be a fun ride for you. It really isn't. You're going to ruin your life by doing that. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So that was a report. That was a report on Nikki Bella. All right. All right. While speaking during a recent conversation of Steve Mulhausen of SI, which is of course Sports Illustrated, um, takedown, Matt Riddle expressed a strong belief in his chance of returning. Um, and his strong chance of returning to the WWE are quite high. He notes that if Punk could rejoin the company, then despite his conflicts with the WWE, it suggests that reconciliation is possible. Riddle acknowledges his own challenges during his time with the company, but remains hopeful that he will continue the hard work to lead to his return. However, it also emphasizes that he would be at peace with the possibility of not returning to the WWE if it comes to that. The chances of me going back, I think they're extremely high, says Riddle. If Punk, who filed a lawsuit against the WWE and then raked them through the mud for decades, then he goes to the competition. I'll tell you this: if he can do that and everything can be forgiven, I know I wasn't the easiest to work with at times. I think the door is always open. Well, all right. Some of the stuff that Riddle is saying here is true. Punk did file a lawsuit against the WWE. He did file a lawsuit against the WWE. And he did rake them over the coals, and he did. Okay, so he did a lot of the various things. Okay, so I half of the stuff that Punk that not Punk, half of the stuff that Riddle is saying here, I agree with. Okay, the WWE did open the door back to Punk. He came in after Punk with the lawsuit and everything else and dragged him through the mud. I understand that. But there is one but. Punk never got drunk at an airport and accused an airport staff of sexually assaulting him. Okay? That's what Riddle did. That's what Riddle did. And Punk never wrestled high like Riddle did. So I believe I'm going to half agree with what Riddle is saying, and I'm going to disagree with the other half. Because this is what happened to Riddle. He was in WWE, and while he was in WWE, he was high. The man took drugs. He was high. And the last straw for Riddle was when he was in an airport and he was drunk. The man was drunk and he was very difficult to deal with behind the scenes. So I don't think the WWE would welcome him back because of those things. Why would you want to have a distraction like that? See, when Punk came back to the WWE, he changed his whole world around. And he was disciplined and he wants to be part of the show now. Now he wants to be part of the storyline. He wants to be part of the audience. He wants to. I don't think Riddle can be that disciplined like Punk because you can't compare the two of them. You really can't. Punk Punk would never. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for people. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. I can't speak for people. But no. Um, I don't. I don't know if Riddle can be that disciplined like Punk and keep his nose clean and not do drugs. I mean, Riddle's got some issues that he needs to address. Riddle's got some issues, and the thing is that you don't want another distraction. You just don't. I don't know. I don't. mm, I don't know. Mm. I don't know what you all think. I don't know what you all think about this. I don't know if he's conditioned enough to um come back and be on the straight and narrow because he did admit it in the article that I just read. He did admit that he was difficult behind it because he was. He was. He was difficult to deal with. But I don't know if he's conditioned enough to come back and to be on the straight now, not be high in wrestling matches and not be drunk and cause all kind of chaos and be difficult to deal with behind the scenes. Um, Sarah says the difference is Punk has all had years to make changes and atone for his behavior. Riddle hasn't. You're absolutely right, Sarah. Bingo! You hit the nail on the head. Bingo. Right. I agree with Sarah's assessment. Riddle has been, Riddle has not yet addressed his demons. That's the word I'm looking for. He hasn't yet addressed his demons. And if you don't address these demons, it's very hard to want to welcome anybody back that don't want to address his demons. Um, that's something that I don't think WWE wants to deal with, or Endeavor for that matter, because to go there and go there and say, that somebody violently sexually assaults you in an airport, and you accuse the airport staff of doing that to you. I, you got some issues. You got some really. I mean that is some really heavy accusation that you're throwing around there. Um, and you know, it's, like I said, I agree with Sarah. He hasn't atoned for his behavior. He hasn't wrestled with his demons yet, and he hasn't addressed his demons, and he is in denial. Riddle's in denial, and I'm sorry, but I wouldn't welcome him back to the WWE because a leopard never changes its spots. Um, Let me see what's there. First off, I don't think TKO would allow him back yet if he can't adhere to their wellness policy. Second, Punk has been working with NXT talent, helping them. So that shows change right there. Exactly. She There's nothing else I can say. Sarah's right. Sarah is right. I can't argue with that fact. I'm not even going to challenge it. Sarah is absolutely 1000% correct. TKO would not allow him to return to the WWE. Well, I don't see TKO or Endeavor or WWE asking him to come back. He's kind of in denial. He's in denial, and to think that Triple H is going to call on the telephone, or a representative of TKO is going to call on the telephone and say, "Oh yeah, Riddle, yeah, do you want to come back to WWE? Let's talk." I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see that happening anytime soon. So yeah, I don't see that happening any anytime soon. No, mm-mm, no, 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 no. So hold on one second. So that that is the news on Riddle, and those are your hot topics for today. That's your hot topics for today. We went through a lot today. Gave you a lot to to marinate on. Um, so so let's just talk about this for a second. Since we went through all our stories today, and I gave you all that Earl Grey tea, I hope you liked it. I hope you liked that Earl Grey tea. I hope you really liked it. Um, so let's just talk about this for a second. Uh, let's just talk about the new WWE and what's going on. And of course, as you all know, we're going to go back to 2 hours of Raw on Monday nights. I like this. Let me just explain something to you. I grew up on Monday Night Raw. As everybody knows, I grew up on Raw, and as a kid, and I mean, it first started as a 1 hour telecast. Then it went to 2 hours, and then it ballooned to 3 hours after Raw 1000. I think that this change is really good for everyone involved. Because when you have a weekly episodic television episode like Raw, and you have to do 3 hours, it's a very big thing to do when it comes to storyline involvement. Because there's a lot of things that could be left off the cutting room floor, and critical details are going to be missed in a storyline because you don't have time to marinate on it. It's just like when me and Joey Wood were talking on Thursday night with the wrestling experience. We discussed about storylines and how AEW don't know how to do their storylines. They jump from one storyline to another storyline, and then they leave their storylines on the cutting room floor, um, and they don't give the time to marinate on it. And I think that's what the WWE was doing when they did the 3 hour telecast of Raw, because it was so much writing to do. There was so much heavy lifting to do with each storyline. And most of the time, some of the storylines were missed. Sometimes that they critical details in the storyline was missed. So I think that last Monday night they tweeted out that Raw will be moved to 2 hours, and I like it. I like it. Going forward, I like it. So the final 3 hour telecast of Raw will happen on the 30th of September, and and then after that, going forward, we're going to do 2 hours. I like it. I really, 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 really like it. I do. I think that this is a great thing. And it's great for me because, you know, to call 2 hours worth of wrestling matches is fine for me. I don't know about anybody else, but when you call matches like 3 hours, it's daunting. Because here's the thing, sometimes I work those PLEs, and I do these pay-per-views, and I'm calling matches, and sometimes there are seven in a pay-per-view, sometimes there's eight, sometimes there's nine, or in AEW's case, it's infinity. Sometimes it's infinity. So it's daunting. It's daunting to the mind, that you're calling these matches, and after a while you get exhausted because it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot of package to deal with. So I I personally like this 2 hour telecast. I think it's great. It's great packaging. It's great marketing. It's great everything. And you don't have to worry about a 3 hour show anymore. You really don't. And last night, while we were doing SmackDown, again, I want to thank Mitch Kofsky and Denise for joining me on SmackDown last night. We had a lot of fun with that telecast. Um, Last night they did an overrun, the first overrun of SmackDown. Usually 9:58 or 9:50, they cut it off. Fox would have to cut it off because of the law that they have on the books with the 10 o'clock news. So last night we had our first overrun of SmackDown, and I loved it. But now let me ask you all something. Here's a question for you all to think about here. Do you think that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns can coexist in this tag match? If you all don't know what I'm talking about, if you all don't know what I'm talking about, last night on Friday Night SmackDown, we got a match at Bad Blood. So it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns taking on Solo Sokoa and the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Um, is it this? I don't know. This tag match is going to be crazy. This is something I'm going to be want to watch. This is something that I'm going to really watch with an open eye and an open mind because um this is gonna be good. Yeah, we're gonna have Bad Blood. We're gonna have Bad Blood on Saturday night, October the 5, exclusively to the Hardcore Sports. Exclusively to the Hardcore Sports. It'll be me, it'll be Mitch, it'll be Sarah, and Denise. We'll all bring you. We will all bring you Bad Blood 2024, and that will happen on Saturday night, the 5th of October, and we will have that telecast at 5:50 Eastern Daylight Standard Time if you keep it where it is. All right. All right. Yeah, so we're going to have that. And remember, follow them on Twitch at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Instagram at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Spotify at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Instagram at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on TikTok at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Facebook at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Instagram at Hardcore Sports. And of course, subscribe to their YouTube channel and hit that like button. Hit the like button on my channel. Hit the like button on the Hardcore Sport. And we're going to be great Saturday morning, now Saturday afternoon, here at the Hardcore Sports Network. Thank you so much for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. That is going to wrap it up for the Wrestling Chronicles number 3, volume 3. Thank you all so much for your time, your energy. I want to thank Sarah Hopkins for her time and energy and so being so active in the chat. I want to thank Wesley. I want to thank, I have to, yeah, I have to send a shout out to Walter. Thank you, Walter, for your energy. Thank you to Daniel Berry, to Sports. Thank you to everyone. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. I greatly appreciate you. And thank you so much for being in the chat. Thank you to everyone. This has been a great day. And I hope everyone will enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And you are a darling. You all are darlings. And thank you all so much for your time and energy. Um, I'll be back in cyberspace once again for Monday Night Raw. And again, we want to thank you for your time, your energy, and your space. And thank you so much for watching the Wrestling Chronicles, volume number 3. I'm Earl Cole. Thank you all so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And I'll see you Monday night with Monday Night Raw.